Hi, and welcome to the show, and it is brought to you by the Bay of Quinte Men's Soccer League, battling for the Merchants Cup for over 100 years, and also brought to you by Four Seasons Sports out of Belleville, been serving the Bay of Quinte area for almost 50 years. Check them out on North Front Street. It's an amazing shop for all your sporting needs. Ike and family will have you covered. So it's going to be an amazing show today because we have a guest today who is a legend in his own mind and in his own sport as well. He will be the MC, the upcoming Canadian Motorcycle Hall of Fame banquet in Surrey, BC. It's going to be an exciting time coming up in February. Mr. Frank Wood, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here. This, I take it, you mentioned soccer right off the get-go, and I'm going to suggest that perhaps this is a new venue for you, motorsports, motorcycle racing in particular?
Absolutely. I'm completely new to the sport. I've been lucky enough to have one of my best buddies of all time keep me abreast of all the different parts of the sport that I don't know much about, but just gets me intrigued. And he introduced me to you, his longtime buddy, Frank Wood, many years ago, and I've been intrigued about what you've always done. So that's why you're here today, to chat a little bit about the sport that you love and maybe introduce some soccer people that watch my show to a new sport. So tell us a little bit about your involvement in this incredible sport that you've been doing for, tell us how long you've been involved in the motorcycle game.
Oh, boy. In the game, since I was 16 years of age, as soon as I could get a motorcycle, I had one, and that was all there was to it. As far as the making a living, or part of my living through motorcycling, through announcing and writing and what have you, that all just sort of gradually fell together as the years went by. But I don't know if you want a history on me, Scott, or how I got involved. Was simply going to a motorcycle race and
Sure.
pits and meeting a few guys, and next thing you know, I want to give it a try, and go out and give it a try, and did relatively well, and then a fellow racer, actually I will give credit to a member of the Canadian Motorcycle Hall of Fame, which a fellow that I'll be seeing in a couple of weeks in British Columbia, and that is former national #1 dirt track racer Peter Grant.
Okay.
Grant had some splendid rides, by the way, in your hometown of Belleville at the Normcar Memorial races that used to run at the fairgrounds there. So anyway, I'm getting a little diverse here. Peter offered me a chance to announce a motorcycle race, just like right out of the blue. And I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that. So I did that, and I did a dirt track race on his behalf, and I worked with the Canadian Motorcycle Association and the Canadian Motorsport Racing Corporation, I think they call themselves, CMRC, anyway, the Quebec-based dirt track promoters, and then I had the good fortune to be given a tap on the shoulder at the plant that I was working in. They were doing a downsizing, and I wasn't particularly happy in working in a 12-hour shift work and in a factory thing. A lot of good people there, mind you, but when given the opportunity, I bailed out. And I'm going to mention a few people, if you don't mind, Scott, because
No, of course not.
people who have made a big difference. I mentioned Peter Grant, for instance, but when I left my previous job, which, by the way, was at Procter & Gamble, great company, don't regret a single moment I worked for them. It just didn't fit me. I went to see my lawyer and to get some advice. And he said, Bray Kaufman, by the way, is the lawyer's name, no longer working, but his daughter's sort of taking the reins at the firm on North Front Street there in Belleville. Anyway, Ray was chatting with me, and he said, Frank, this is a great opportunity for you. He says, what you need to do is do not go out and get a job. And I kind of looked at him and thought, well, the amount of money that I got in my severance isn't going to last very long, so how am I going to feed my family? And he says, well, you've already commented to me that you enjoy the announcing thing, but you only get to do it every second weekend because of your job commitments. And you enjoy the writing thing, and he says, now you have the time to pursue what you want to do. And Scott, he pointed his finger at me, and he says, do it and stay the course. I'll never forget those words. And it worked out. Thanks, Ray.